Good evening. Welcome back to In the Khud. This is November 11, 2022, 6:28 p.m. So we're pretty much on time if the preposition is right. Bruh. Which means I still haven't had my evening snack / coffee. But 6:30 is actually the time people have dinner. And it's so weird that we have our coffee and snack at this time. Bruh. Okay, protein cookie. Same thing over and over every single day. That is what consistency is. #consistent life. Just gonna eat half because can't eat more than half. I'm a little kid, man. I don't have a bodybuilder's appetite. So we're supposed to cover 2 days. Yesterday, which was a Sunday, and Sunday is officially a day that I've decided to not document / upload a video because it just makes life a little easier. One less thing to worry about, kind of. Yesterday was 6th November. Very useful thing inside Premiere. This actually I'm writing down on Saturday evening when I was editing that day's vlog. I think vlog 95. Shortcut name is extend previous edit to playhead. So I'll just quickly show you how I edit my vlogs for In the Khud, right? Let's say I want to edit this. So there's a Premiere Pro Auto Hotkey script that I use. Okay. And I have the text on screen on my clipboard, right? And text 3, the video channel 3, the text channel is always active. So let's say I'm editing like this. I don't need to use the keyboard mouse at all. It's just all keyboard based. So let's say I'm removing these things here. I'm doing Q, QD, QD, QD stuff. And there's a point where I'm going to put text on screen. I come in here and say paste, right? I come back and I see, okay, that has read. But a lot of the times I want to extend this till the next cut, so I can simply press E to do that and that will happen. Isn't that beautiful? So what this is actually doing is the same as coming in here and saying E, or taking your mouse, coming here and dragging it till here. So now I can just come in here. If I want to extend it here, I just press E. Okay, so this is one important thing though, that none of your these should be active. This shouldn't be active. Like, just keep your audio off and then do it, because it extends basically everything till what is important here is if I go into keyboard shortcuts, it's called edit selected extend selected edit to playhead, extend previous edit. Oh, there is selected edit as well, but I can't select, right? It has to be previous edit, and I've set a custom shortcut for it, E. I think by default is Alt Control E or something. Bruh. So that for me is one huge time saver when editing In the Khud vlogs, so that was worth documenting there. Yesterday the whole day, in fact the entire weekend, because I documented Saturday to be the sad day where I couldn't do anything productive. Yesterday was, you can call it productive, but not in the way that it would be ideal. Like, ideal would be having done a lot of dad's work and gotten all of that stuff out of the way, but I rather spend the whole day in After Effects scripting, because that's one thing that I really enjoy doing now, making scripts for After Effects. So I made this beautiful thing inside After Effects, which is I will open it here. Actually I have extend script open, so I'm going to just say F5 and you have your text counter here. So this is a beautiful custom made script which works wonders. So far it has been. While I was using it today for my full-time job things, I did come across a few functionalities I would want to add into the script to make it a little more refined, a little more better. But with currently what it is doing, it's a huge time saver. So I'll just quickly walk you through what it does exactly. First thing first, any script you want to make sure that when there is no composition, nothing selected, and you press a button, it should give you an alert of please select a composition. If these checks are not in place, every single time your script will start throwing up and After Effects will go not responding. So that's very unprofessional, shouldn't happen. Once I do have a random composition open, let's say it's this composition here, and keep this at the top. What my script allows me to do is, oh god, there's no space here. With my script here at the top, 0, if I put my cursor over it, you'll get a tooltip. So count to. I want to count from 0 to 100. This here is if I want to add some text after the text count is over. This here is the font size of the text. This here is the count duration, like how many frames does the count take place in. Let's say 30 is 1 second and 30 FPS timeline. So I want to count from 0 to 100. Okay, here there is an additional thing, checkbox. If this is clicked, you will get a drop shadow on it at particular settings. If this is not, you get it without drop shadow. This BG here just adds a blend gradient. I will go and explain this later. But first let me just have the drop shadow enabled. First let me do it without drop shadow. 0 to 100, I don't want anything here. I'm just gonna hit go. So what has happened is, if I hit U for my keyframes, in the span of 1 second, this is going from 0 to 100. And what it does is it actually takes the last used settings, so that's why it's becoming italics and everything, 0 to 100, okay, in 1 second. That is, let's say, use case number 1. I want to do 0 to 100, whatever text in front, let's say tickets sold, and this time let me just have a white null here, solid here, So you can see the drop shadow. I'm going to press this checkbox which gives you drop shadow, and just for some variation, let's just make it over 2 seconds. Now when I hit go, you will see 0 tickets goes from 0 to 100 tickets sold over a span of 2 seconds or 60 frames. And you also see that you have this drop shadow here. What is happening? You see this drop shadow, that's an effect that's been added. Okay, why is After Effects behaving so weirdly? That was that. Now this BG thing, if I just press this once, you need a blend gradient exactly like we needed. And the real thing that I discovered, a lot of things I discovered yesterday, one of the important ones is, for this I always used to use a PNG for blend gradient. Like let's say I want to have some text that is not being visible, so without drop shadow, the way I would do it is just, let's say there's no drop shadow, I would keep it here. Or a better example would be like text at the bottom of the screen, and we have your 0 tickets sold here. So it just, without using drop shadow, you can do it this way as well, like where it's not going below the margin or anything. So what I would do is I would just have a PNG on my hard drive, import it, and then bring it here. But turns out if you just have a solid with a gradient ramp on it, okay, and you turn the blend mode from normal, so normally if I take it back, your gradient is going from, we've rotated it 90 degrees, it's actually going from black to white. Okay, now the blend mode multiply, what the blend mode does is every pixel that is completely black, it keeps it, and every pixel that is completely white, it makes it transparent. So if I change this from normal to multiply, the black ones stay, and if I just shut the transparency, you will see it better. Or you cannot count. You need to have something in the background. Yeah, otherwise how will you multiply? Let me just change this to something else, like red. It's a little more clear. Yeah. So this was your background. Okay, this doesn't work like complete transparency. It's almost like faking transparency. So on this layer, everything that is pitch black is retained, and anything else which is like white or shades of white. So what happens if instead of white, here I have gray? Yeah, so you see that you will get like varying levels of visibility. From black is completely visible to white is not at all visible, and that you can control through, if you see this, you will see this much part is visible and this much part is not visible. So basically trying to fake that effect using the blend mode, which is like, I think, pretty nice solution. Having said that, we have it in a ready to use script here, which is docked in our interface. So a few things that I learned worth noting is tooltip in AE scripting is actually called help tip. So you see here countout.help tip, not tooltip. I was searching for tooltip throughout the documentation. When we add drop shadows and effect to layer when using scripting, to access the opacity value of the effect, it goes from 0 to 255, equivalent to 0 to 100. So where are we adding drop shadow? Add drop shadow. See opacity.set value. If I make it 100, this doesn't go from this 100% is equivalent to 255 here. I don't know why. I've understood that to trial and error. How do you change the blending mode of a layer using script? Layer.blending mode is equal to blending mode.multiply. Refer page 130 of AE scripting guide. Changing transform property of any layer property transform.property position.set value. You have to use set value because these are read-only attributes, and you cannot say position.value equals to something. It's just weird, right? You're using set value to actually change the value. Then how is it only read only? You can actually write over it, but it doesn't work all the time, so it's like a miss and a hit. Anyway, that was a lot of things done yesterday, and one more thing I want to show is if I full screen and I go into my workspace, work in AE, this is what I changed yesterday. If you see, things here are going a bit whack, and I have to work on the side panels a bit because they're not like ideal at the moment. But one thing that I worked on is, if you see this entire thing in the middle, this whole section is my own scripts, and I'm going to be spending some time clubbing this whole thing into one single script so that all these repetitive boxes, this 2020 can serve as input output for opacity switch, for pop script, for all of these at once. I also want to have my mask thing here, which is like smaller, and I have different variations of it with like check boxes to do certain tasks like moving things in, moving things out. Basically a lot has to be done here, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun to make my own custom kind of workspace, kind of, what do you call it, spacecraft like a captain's dock where the pilot sits. What is it called? I don't know. Cockpit. That's how this workspace is. I don't know why my library is hanging up like here out of nowhere weirdly. That's just Adobe's products being Adobe's products. See, why is this so coming to today, 14 minutes was screwed. I woke up at 6, took Snowy down, watched 3 videos of the sculpting course, no strength to actually execute. 9 o'clock hits and I'm like, I just want to sleep, I'm dead. This has been an ongoing problem because I don't get enough sleep during the night. Probably figure something about it, or maybe just leave it and life figure it for me. That's a better option, right? 12 o'clock made a small edit for full-time job. The whole day was full-time job based only. Didn't get any time to do dad's work. Been pushing it. It's gonna rebound like crazy. I'll see what I can do there. 13.0 improvements to the text count. These are the things I want to improve. The text layer is always coming at the top of the layer stack. By default, this method is fine, but if a layer in that layer stack is selected, we have to have the text layer above this layer. That is very simple to do. Functionality for larger text numbers. Okay, it's using some. Let me just add text here. I have a thing that I made. Longer number counter. It goes to longer numbers like this, and it's using something called, what was this called? Regular expression. Yeah, I do not understand what this is, but it gets the job done. So I can go to like whatever crazy number, I can just add 100 in front and it will actually count up until this weird number. So yeah, need to add this functionality. Selective color parts is not, I cannot just select a particular part. Let's say I want to select 100 and make it a different color. I cannot do that. See, if I just select this much part and I make it red, it's not working. The whole thing can be changed to any color. That is working, but I need to be able to change this 100 as well. So that's one thing. Decimal counters. What if I want to have decimals and semi-rectangle behind the text offset? Yeah, so that's it. A lot of After Effects stuff. Other than that, yeah, I just want to quickly edit this video and go to the gym now, because that's one sort of relaxing thing that's been going pretty well in life. Thanks so much for being in the Khud. I will catch you tomorrow. Peace.